Yeah, I will focus back more on the net here. Good evening and welcome. Let me see here. With that, if your suffix begins with the letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, please check in now.
W0AWS, Albert in Westminster, no traffic.
This is Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo, Cannon Lakewood.
Zero CIV, Charles in Denver, no traffic.
Kilowatt Delta Zero, Charlie Golf Foxtrot, Kenny and Thornton, no traffic.
All right, K1DVC would like to, net control, would like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-ins. Again, thank you, Jonathan, KM4CFT, for a signal report. Appreciate that. We also had W0AWS, Albert, Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo, Ken. I think there was a double in there. We also had WD0CIV, Charles, and KD0CGF. Kenny, thank you all so much for checking in. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. I'm also, just to make my life even more difficult, I'm going to try to listen in onto our DMR Brandmeister repeater. So if you're not able to make the repeater and you are able to go on there, 310804, I'll try to bring that up here in just a few minutes. But just to make my life even more complicated than it needs to be, we're going to try to listen in on our talk group, 310804. Once more, if your call suffix begins with letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, please call now.
Zero Foxtrot Zero, Foxtrot Papa India, Ron in Lakewood.
All right, and that time we had KF0 FPI Ron. Thank you so much for checking in. All right, we'll move to the second part of the alphabet. If your call suffix begins with the letters N through Z, November through Zulu, and you'd like to check in, let us know your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic or questions, please call now.
Kilo Echo Zero, Sierra Uniform Mike, Jonathan, Lakewood.
All right, in that time, Net Control, I'd like to welcome knowledge of the following check-in. KE0SUM, Jonathan, thank you so much for checking in. Once more, if your call suffix begins with the letters N through Z, November through Zulu, please call now. All right, we'll open up the whole alphabet. We're taking all call signs, all call suffixes. Let us know your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic or questions, A through Z, Alpha through Zulu, please call now.
November Zero, Tango Romeo Papa, Jim in Lakewood. Good evening.
All right, and that time we had N0TRP. Jim, thank you so much for checking in. Really do appreciate that. Again, this is about an hour-long meeting, just general Q&A about ham radio STEM topics in general. We're taking all call signs, all call suffixes. Let us know if you have any traffic questions. A through Z, Alpha through Zulu. Let us know your call, your name, and if you have any traffic questions, please call now. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Sorry for the rocky start there. Platform I use for streaming on YouTube is slightly changed over the last couple of days, and something has broken, so I had to struggle to get things working there. But I was hoping to get live closed captioning working this week, but something broke with something here, so hopefully I'll work on that for the future. With that, this is K1 DBC Net Control. We have another 50 or so minutes. I didn't see anybody indicated they have any traffic or questions. But we're taking your comments, questions, check-ins, and more. So we'll take another opportunity for check-ins, A through Z, Alpha through Zulu. Please call now. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. I appreciate everyone's patience here so far. I've hopefully worked out the audio issues from my end. From my radio, it's a new radio to me, and I think I've worked out some of the issues, so it sounds like things are sounding better. Do appreciate the signal report there earlier on. Really appreciate that. What else? It's been a busy week outside of ham radio, obviously. Election week, and it's been really busy the last few weeks and months. So I think a lot of us have been busy, maybe outside of ham radio. But I have maybe some stories I can certainly bring up, ham radio related potentially. But this is an opportunity. We're taking your comments, questions, and more. So I didn't see anybody indicate they had traffic. But if somebody has any traffic or comments or questions or any other check-ins, please call them.
W0AWS here. I have a question, since I'm kind of a noob at using all this stuff. I was on the air, and then people were giving out numbers, and I think that was called a signal report, and they give out two numbers, and it was on single sideband. What are those numbers? Can someone tell me? Over?
W0TX repeater.
Great question there, Albert. Maybe talking about the RST system, Romeo Sierra Tango, which stands for readability, strength, and tone.
Okay. If they use 2 digits, which ones are they? Over?
Yeah, absolutely. Readability, qualitative assessment of how easy or difficult it is to correctly copy the information being sent. 1 being unreadable, 5 being perfectly readable. S for strength is an assessment of how powerful the received signal is at the receiving location, often used by as an S meter reading. 1 through 9, 1 being faint and 9 being extremely strong. And then tone, measured on a scale of 1 to 9, only pertains to Morse code and other digital modes. It's usually omitted during voice, but 1 being extremely rough and 9 being purest. So the numbers you're hearing maybe are probably readability and strength. You'll often hear 5 by 9 sometimes, but this is K1 DBC Net Control. Hopefully that answers that question, or if you have any follow-up on that, go ahead.
Well, now that I'm on a roll, kind of. The other thing which I was curious about was I'm trying to learn CW, and then there are people who say, oh, you should learn 5 words per minute, and there are people who say you should start out just by learning it at 18 words a minute. Is there any info on that of anyone who's had to learn it recently? Thanks. Over. That's KM4 CFT.
Great question. And KM4 CFT with the follow-up. Go ahead.
is KM4CFT. I can somewhat answer the question. This is gonna it'll differ depending on who you ask, but ultimately, what typically people will say is that you don't want to go too slow. The issue if you go too slow is that you'll start thinking in dots and dashes. So you don't want to get into the habit of thinking, oh, that's a W dot dash dash. You want to be able to, as you're listening to it, you want to be able to hear the letters as a burst of dits and das. So you hear an R, when you hear a dotted, you want to instantly know that's a R. That's something that's important. So typically what you do is you'll start at a medium speed, usually 10 words a minute or higher. And what they'll do is they'll increase what is known as the Farnsworth. The two techniques. One is just slowing down. The other way is what we call Farnsworth spacing. So that would be the spacing between the letters. So, for example, the letters would be sent at like 20 words a minute, but the spacing between the letters might be equivalent to 5 words a minute, so you have a difference there. If you're interested in learning CW, though, there are two clubs that I would recommend you taking a look at. One is known as CW Ops, and the other one is known as the Long Island CW Club. I'm a member of the Long Island CW Club, and they have about 120 Zoom sessions a week where you can learn pretty much everything. Go from not knowing any CW at all to going all the way up to going like the master level of stuff. I'm considered intermediate, which means that I can do a POTA or SOTA QSO just fine. I've been doing it for 2 years. But I can't do like a rag chew or anything, which is where you are just talking for the sake of talking, so to speak. I think that pretty much sums it up. I do recommend that, so I'll go ahead and hand it back to Net Control, KM4CFT.
B0 AWS, thank you very much.
CGF with a comment.
Excellent. Thanks you for the follow-up. Really do appreciate that. Yeah, different learning speeds, different modes, and different abilities. Really do appreciate that, CFT. And then there was a follow-up in there. I think it was maybe CGF, but there was someone else. Go ahead.
KD0 CGF for ID. So I've been messing around with the Morse code and what the gentleman was speaking about. Actually sounds a little better than what I got going here. So what I've been messing with is I found an app on the Google Play Store and kind of just playing with it, and it seems like I've just been playing around with the app just to see how it would work, and it's all right, but I'm starting to just stumble upon myself because I'm sitting there thinking of the dits and dots. But the other day, I downloaded an application, CW Get, I think is what it's called, and I was running it, and I came across a station for the ARRL, and I don't think they were doing the rag chew, but they definitely were sending a lot of information out. They were definitely sending a lot of information out, and yeah, that's the way I did it. So, KD0 CGF, back to net.
Excellent. Appreciate that, CGF. Yep, lots of options out there, whether it be an Android or iPhone app or an app on your computer. A lot of ways for CW Morse a practice. Absolutely, yeah. And the W1AW does has a schedule of sending fast and slow code, so you can try to copy at different speeds. And a lot of options out there. It's a lot of different methods. The Koch method, KOCH, as mentioned, or the Farnsworth method. a lot of options for learning, and a lot of clubs. CW Ops is mentioned, Long Island CW Club, also a great option as well. So appreciate everyone's follow-up on that. So yeah, hopefully AWS, you'll start getting in on some CW action there. So anyone else, CW, Morse code, practice or training, or anything else on that, go right ahead.
Alpha Bravo.
Alpha Bravo, go ahead.
This is Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo. Where are you at as far as learning the code? Are you at 5 words per minute right now?
WAS here. No, I am just learning to do R's and D's and a few characters at a time, and I'm starting at 5 words a minute, but then I started reading somewhere that these people want you to start at 18 words a minute or something, and so I thought I'd just ask everybody what they were doing. I'm trying to do the CW thing because it turns out that you can do a lot more DX things, I think, with the CW because of that really narrow bandwidth, and then your power is sort of stuck within that, whatever it is, 700 hertz or bandwidth which you're pumping it out through using Percival's theorem. Okay, over.
Okay, sounds great. Yeah, I've been doing code for over 30 years. I was kind of born and bred into code when I started my journey in amateur radio, and my advice to you would be to learn your characters at 5 words per minute, and just learn your 5 words per minute to where you can get down to about 90% copy. And the way I practice now, while I can rag chew, it's been my mode of operation, like I say, for many years. But the way I practice is like Daron said on W1AW at 2 p.m., 5 p.m., and 8 p.m., Monday through Friday. They have fast and slow and fast code sessions. And what it does for you is it gets you on the real world airwaves to where you learn to hear. You've got the what do they call it? Where not the USB, but the QSB, where it goes up and down, and the signal comes in and out, and it goes real low, and then it comes up, and it gives you some ear training on how to kind of dig in to the sounds. So when you learn it at about 5 words per minute, then just jump over there, and like I say, they have a slow, and what they do is they'll start out fast, and then they'll work down. They'll start out at maybe 15, and what you can do is you try to let me key here again. What you can do is you can set there and you can listen at 15 words per minute and see if you can hear characters, like you might hear an E or you might hear a D or whatever, and then they'll drop it to like 13, and then you'll be able to pick up a few more characters, and then they drop it to 10. But you got to get to that 5 words per minute first before you can do that. But then once you get that, you can get on this W1AW, and it's a really good way to learn it on the air. And then after the sessions, they give out the solar reports, and that's at 18 words per minute. And at the 18 words per minute, when you get to your 5 words per minute, you won't be able to pick up everything, but they do a lot of numbers and commas and periods and all of that type of characters, and it really helps, and it will really improve your CW. So that's the way I learned years ago, and right now, like I say, that's my main mode, and it's a lot of fun. And I work CW all over the world, from Antarctica to the Arctic to anywhere in the world. Probably the only place that I haven't got into was Israel on CW. But other than that,
Just get that 5 words per minute down, and you will be on your way. Anyway, this is Kilo Echo Alpha Bravo. Back to net.
AWS.
Excellent.
One more question is, I also, well, I got my super antenna in the mail and I hooked up the backyard so I could actually get out. I found out that at 20 meters there are people who are doing these things called POTAs, Parks on the Air, and then I was going to talk to them. They were running SSB, and then as I tuned the receiver, their voices go from Donald Duck to somewhat clear, and then when I talk to them, I get like a lousy signal report, and then when I talk to another one, I turned it a little bit so their voice was a little deeper, and then they gave me a better signal report. So how do you tell what frequency you actually need to transmit back on? Back to net?
I'm at KM4 CFT.
Great question, CFT. I'll throw it back to you here in a second. Yeah, absolutely. Single sideband audio, whether it be upper or lower sideband. Yeah, it's definitely audio is distorted. I think during field day, I've heard that it's usually around kind of the. I'll let CFT follow up on that, and I'll see if I can gather my thoughts. KM4 CFT, go ahead.
This is KM4 CFT. So to answer your question about the how do you know, honestly, the best way is just guess. Typically, when people are operating on single sideband, general rule is that you're going to be on an even kilohertz marking. So, you, for example, it might be 14.211 or something. So that's typical. Is going to be on there, but the bands can be a bit fickle with that, in that sometimes messing with your audio or detuning yourself will help strengthen your signal. I don't recommend doing that. There is a technique called speech compression that might give you a little bit of extra edge. But if you're able to tune yourself a little bit off, detune yourself, and it helps, then that's what's important, is just being able to make the QSO. Now, you also mentioned an interest in Parks on the Air. If you have any questions about Parks on the Air, I activate Parks on the Air pretty much twice a week. So, and I'm also a CW Parks on the Air guy. So, if you have any questions about that, I am more than happy to answer any of that.
AWS here. Thank you very much. Okay, so basically wing it in terms of tuning, and then hope you got it right, and then hopefully on an even kilohertz marking, I will try that as well. I have to check out now because my daughter just came home, so I'll have to say 73 to everyone, and have a good evening. Back to net.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Albert AWS. Have a good evening. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, great question there. Single sideband tuning. Yeah, it's usually on the a hold number, and not usually. People are usually transmitting on a hold number and not multiple digits, decimals, digits after that. And yeah, you kind of just got to tune up and tune down. And yeah, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, anyone else on that or any other comments or questions, please go on there.
Good evening. The time is 8 p.m.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Again, I appreciate everyone's patience here so far this evening. Had some technical issues earlier on, but should be okay for now. But we'll get things worked out for next time. CW training, really good options there. CW Ops, Morse code training, lots of different options out there. So do what feels comfortable. Learn what you can. Learn maybe your own call sign at first and see if you can pass that. But yeah, CW operations, yeah, you can get pretty far with CW. These lower power modes, you can get quite much further distance than high power modes. With that, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Anyone else? Comments, questions, check-ins, anything else so far for this evening's Learning Net? Please call now.
Alpha Bravo.
Alpha Bravo, go ahead.
Yeah, like I say, the 5 words per minute, and like you just said, there's an astronomical of ways that you can learn it. But learn your 5 words per minute, and as far as using a key, if you want to use a key or practice with a key, there are the oscillators, the key oscillators, and all that good stuff that you can use to practice with that. But I wouldn't really start practicing with a key until you learn that 5 words per minute, because that's very important, and that's the way they used to do it in the good old days, and that's the way they had taught it. I wasn't in the military. I have nothing to do with the service, but that's where they used to teach a lot of the guys in the service. They started out at the 5 words per minute, and I've talked over the years. I've talked to a bunch of guys, submariners and warships out on the ocean when they're off duty. They would get out there and do code and stuff like that. But 5 words per minute is the best way to do it. Anyway, this is Kilo Echo Zero. Back to net.
W0TX repeater.
KM4 CFT comment.
KM4 CFT, go ahead.
This is KM4 CFT, and that's kind of funny because I was actually taught that to do the exact opposite of that. I was told to avoid doing 5 words per minute, to do the exact opposite because of the one of the pitfalls of sending at 5 words a minute is that it causes you to build a lookup table in your head. So what ends up happening is you hear the dots and dashes, and then you end up having to think about it. End up thinking too much about what the decoding is, instead of just hearing the da and hearing oh that's a W, and just instantly decoding it. So the effective speed can be 5 words a minute, but the actual character speed, the Farnsworth, so to speak, should be at least 10 at minimum, but 15 to 20 is typically better, for what I've been told, and that seems to be what I've been told, and what I'm pretty sure that's what Long Island CW Club says as well. But that's just. But of course, when you ask 5 ham radio operators how you learn CW, you're gonna get 10 different answers. Back to that.
Kilo Echo Zero for Bravo.
All right, appreciate that, CFT, absolutely. Yeah, different options and different opinions, absolutely. Alpha Bravo, go ahead.
Yes, I agree. We all learn at different rates and different speeds, and there's a gazillion ways out there to do it nowadays than when I learned it. But the thing about it is, at 5 words per minute, if you learn it, and you have to learn how to write down one individual character at a time, and at 5 words a minute, that's what you're doing. And as time goes on, now that I've done this for so long, I don't even have to write this down a lot of the times. I can sit here and listen guys do a conversation and know exactly what they're talking about at 23 to 25 words per minute and not have to write anything down. And I could probably talk back to them at that speed, because all you need to do is get the gist of their conversations. But like you say, there's a million ways to do it, but you need to learn to do one character at a time, and 5 words per minute is where I started, and that's the way I learned. So anyway, like you say, There's a tons of ways to do it. Anyway, this is Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo, back to net.
Absolutely, sounds good. This is K1 at DBC Net Control. So, as slow as you run a race, you're running faster than the people on the couch. So, passing any words per minute is a great starting point. Challenge yourself and see what you can do, and do what feels comfortable. And you have your lifetime really to really figure things out. So, this is K1 at DBC Net Control. Anyone else? Comments, questions, check-ins? We have another 25 or so minutes. Please call now.
This is Kilo Foxtrot Zero Romeo Uniform Hotel checking in.
This is Derek, Kilo Delta Zero Whiskey Tango Quebec in Golden checking in.
TRP.
This is K1 DBC Net Control. Give me just a second here. Sorry about that.
This is Kilo Foxtrot Zero RYQ checking in Golden.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. There was a third check in there. I'll get you back in a second, and we'll get back to you, Jim, N0TRP in a second. Oh, my God. Okay, sorry about that. Appreciate everyone's patience. That control would like to welcome now to the following check-ins. KF0RUH Tim, KD0WTQ Derek, and KF0RYQ Keith. Thank you so much all for checking in. Really do appreciate that. All right, and I guess we'll just take another opportunity to take further check-ins. If you're just tuning in, this is the Denver Radio Club Learning Net, a really great place to learn about ham radio and some topics. Really appreciate everyone's checked-ins here so far. We've had 12 check-ins. It's a great place to learn about ham radio and some topics, and we have plenty of experience and expertise. We have another 20 or so minutes, so if you'd like to check in just for the count, or if you have any traffic or questions, let us know your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic or questions, please call now.
KF0RUH with question.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. RUH with a question. The net is yours. Go ahead, and we'll get back to you, Jim, here in a second. Sorry about that. RUH Tim, go ahead.
Yes, so I have heard about for CW use of either a straight key or a paddle. Could someone comment on sort of whether those two are just different methods, or is it to be used as sort of a progression of learning from straight key to a paddle, or how do we think about that as beginning CW students?
Comment KM4 CFT.
Great question there. What maybe for beginners is best, maybe, or just in general, a straight key or a paddle for Morse code. Straight key is what you maybe have seen. You think about back in the day, just a single push button, and then a paddle is two paddles where you would be able to do dits and dahs a lot quicker. So KM4 CFT, go ahead.
is KM4CFT. Ultimately, it's down to personal preference. Some people like paddles, and some people like straight keys. And if you want to get it really fun, you can even do a side swiper, also known as a cootie, which is a single bar that's you swipe left and right to generate your straight key tones. You could also, if you could also find yourself what's known as a bug, which is a type of device made by it was originally made by Vibraplex, but there's other manufacturers that make them too, and that one automatically creates the DITs where you have to manually enter the DAWs. Really, it's going to depend on how fast you're planning on sending.
W0TX repeater.
So when it comes to sending, really you can only really send up to like about 20 words per minute with a probably even less than that with a straight key. Once you start getting above that, it becomes extremely difficult to send cleanly on a straight key, unless you have to be really skilled with it. It's not impossible, but you have to be skilled. With a iambic paddle or a single lever paddle or whichever, it's much easier to send faster, and the radio is automatically generating the DITs and DAWs. So it means that it's easier for people to decode, and also it's easier for the reverse beacon network to pick you up if you're wanting to get a signal report from that, or you're trying to use it to activate where outside, if you're doing like Proto or Soda. You can use the reverse beacon network to spot yourself, and that's quite useful. So I prefer to use paddles, and in fact I even make my own. So that's pretty cool. But really, the way I would say it is try both. You probably should learn on both, and pick which one you prefer.
Excellent. Thank you, Jonathan. KM4CFT. Really do appreciate the follow-up on that. A paddle versus a straight key and some of the different options there, and some of the different nuances between the two. Maybe some more better ergonomics with a paddle as well. Maybe just use one and stick with it, but maybe try both and see what works best. So, anyone else on that? Or Tim, KF0RUH, if you have any follow-up or any other questions on that, go ahead.
Yeah, this is KF0RUH. No questions or follow-up. Thank you very much.
Alpha Bravo.
All right, and then we had checking in on KE0TSF. Pete, really do appreciate that. I think it was Alpha Bravo as well. Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo, then that is yours.
This is Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo. If I was learning and I was starting out, I would learn a straight key first. Use your straight key at 5 words per minute, because if you're gonna get out on the air, you need to be proficient at 5 words per minute with a straight key. Now all this PODA and SODA, these guys, they get out there and they get going 15, 16 words per minute, and they jot down 3 or 4 little items or where their park is at and stuff like that. And boy, they really go at it. But as far as when they get into a rag chew or something, I've talked to a lot of them out there. They get lost and all of that. So if you're going to learn, just learn your straight key at 5 words per minute and get out onto the air. And there will be people out there that will QRS for you. If you ask them to QRS, they will slow down for you. And if you ask them to QRQ, they will send faster for you. But if you're learning, learn your straight key at 5 words per minute. And then as you advance, you can get into the paddles and the cootie and the iambotics. And a lot of these new radios, they have electronic keyers that you can set up, where all you have to do is just just use a paddle and hold the paddle one way or the other for your dits and daws. But the straight key would be first, and then you just kind of climb the ladder and naturally advance. And for me, I like to use a bug at about 20 to 23 words per minute. I belong to that SKCC club, and if you would really like to learn, that's a good place to learn. You can get a number for free.
Timeout.
Fun times this evening. Repeater should come back here in a minute. Thanks again, everyone, patience for YouTube this evening. Here comes the repeater. This is K1 DBC Net Control. Apologies about that, it looks like the repeater timed out. If you have anything else, go ahead.
I have no idea where it timed out, but like I said, the bottom line is just learn with a straight key at 5 words per minute when you get out on the air, and you'll find some people that are working that speed, and you get your feet wet. Anyway, this is Kilo Echo Alpha Bravo, back to net.
Comment KM4 CFT.
Not a problem. This is a K1 DBC Net Control. It times out after around 3 minutes, I think, and it only timed out for about a minute, so we only missed about 60 seconds. But we really appreciate the follow-up there. Let's see real quick here. CW Ops says they recommend using, while a paddle is easier on your arms and wrist ergonomics, they recommend using going straight. Oh, they recommend going straight to a paddle, it sounds like. So a lot of different options, a lot of different opinions. KM4 CFT, Jonathan, the net is yours.
This is KM4 CFT. AB, you cut out right as you were talking about the Straight Key Century Club, and I'll finish what you basically, I'm guessing what you said. Straight Key Century Club is a club that's free to join, so you can easily just you can apply. You just submit an application. You get a number. Mine's 26702, and basically they have different events that you can do. Like there's Weekend Sprintathon, and there's all sorts of things that can. Basically, it's just having fun using straight keys, and just the general gist of it is a lot of people will say start with a straight key and then switch over to a paddle. And then when you do switch over to a paddle, there's different types of iambic modes. There's iambic A, iambic B, and there's also one called ultimatic. I'm going to say if you're not sure which one to do, I would recommend B. And the reason why I recommend B is, one, it's a little bit more forgiving than A. And also, there are a couple radios out there that don't give you the option, and when they don't give you the option, 99% of the time, it's B. So, for example, my IC706 doesn't have an option between A and B, so it just defaults by B. And then, like the 705 also is B by default. The Yaesu FT857 and 8, and let's see, it's the 817 also only have B. So I only know of like one radio that has A by default. So, yeah, I just say you do B if you have the option, and you can explore the other options if your radio has it. I know the CFT1, which is the radio I designed, has both A and B. But, yeah, it's kind of a bit of personal preference, and personally I think that you should learn both.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. I didn't think we'd get so much out of basics of CW operation, but it is there's some pretty good stuff to it. So I really do appreciate everyone's follow-up on that. We're under 10 or so minutes. Yeah, great questions, great follow-up. Really appreciate that. Anyone else on CW or Morse code or different options and physical keyers, electronic keyers, lots of different options, lots of different things out there. Anyone else on that? Please call now.
N0 TRP.
My apologies, N0TRP. Sorry for not getting back to you there. N0TRP, Jim, go right ahead.
On the topic of CW, my question is maybe for Ken or Jonathan or anyone else who's copying a little bit higher speed, maybe 20, between 20 and 25, and you want to copy it, not just have it in your head. Do you handwrite it, or does anybody keyboard it?
KM4 CFT.
CFT, go ahead.
This is KM4 CFT. I guess I'll just answer. Basically, so I'm not at the point yet that I can do full on rag shoes on CW. I prefer to just type it into my log. I've only really do POTA and SOTA QSOs. So I use a logging app like Hammers or Apollo, are two great ones. But I also occasionally will paper log just for fun. And if you need demonstrations on them, I do occasionally record my POTA activations and I show off how I do it. So if you need like a demonstration of how I log and stuff, that's on my channel, Jonathan Kane. Just look up CFT1, you'll probably find it. KM4 CFT activates CFT1. That should help.
Alpha Bravo.
This is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, or at least I don't do CW at all, but I can't think of running this net by paper. So I'd imagine if you get comfortable with a keyboard and mouse, maybe that might be easier there. But yeah, bringing up this video here on his YouTube channel, Jonathan Kang, KM4 CFT activates POTA, and you can kind of see what he's doing there. I think there was another follow-up in there. Go right ahead.
Kilo Echo Alpha Bravo. Yeah, Jim. If I could do it with a keyboard at 20 to 23 to 25 words per minute, I would be an animal in the CW world. But I'm not. I can't use a keyboard. But I write it down. I copy on paper. Is how I do it. And the faster you get, it is harder to copy down. But what you do is you kind of, after a while, you learn your conversations, and you understand what they're saying. And when you write it down at a faster speed, your letters get a little, they're not complete, but because you know what they're talking about and what you're writing down, you can keep up that way. And what it is it's all conversation. So basically, sometimes when I'm doing that, I just know what they're talking about. They say 559. Well, I don't need to write 559 down because I know what they're talking about. If they say QTH at 20 words, 25 words per minute, and then they say CO or whatever they put down there, I know that they're from Colorado. So at those higher speeds, you write a few things down, but mostly all I do is I'll copy on paper. Anyway, this is Kilo Echo Alpha Bravo. Back to net.
Follow up KM4 CFT.
KM4 CFT, go ahead.
Yeah, ultimately when you're having a QSO, and I can't speak too much on it because I'm not too experienced with it, but this is just stuff that I've been told by instructors at Long Island SCW Club. But ultimately, once you're if you're holding a rag chew or something, you're not. It's kind of like this net here. You don't need to write down everything here. So if you are going to write something down, I would say just the Cliff Notes version of it. You wouldn't be writing down literally every single word that's being said, but you might write down the gist of the QSOs, like the signal report, the state that they're in, what the weather, just like the general talking points of the QSO, and not literally every word verbatim, because that's just being sent. Because that's just you'll be hearing that, you'll just naturally head copy that.
TRP.
Appreciate that. Yeah, this is K1 DBC Net Control. N0TRP, Jim, go ahead.
Okay, fine business there, guys. Appreciate your comments on that. I guess I got a couple of years ago, I was working on code, got up to about 18, and then I was kind of switching back and forth between copying it by hand and then typing it in, and never did figure out which way was better. But I guess if you're going for any of the ARRL certificates, I think you got to hand copy those anyway. So I think I'm settling on just hand copying and forgetting the keyboard for doing a straight full copy. But anyway, thanks for the comments. Appreciate it. N0TRP, back to net. Bravo.
All right, thank you so much there, TRP and CFT. Everyone's follow-up on that. I think it was Alpha Bravo. Go ahead.
This is Kilo Echo Alpha Bravo. Yeah, and another thing, when you're in QSOs, like you say, once you get to a certain advanced point, it's just like me talking to you now, but you're just doing it in Morse code. But you have to be aware of the gist, but you also have to be aware of questions, because questions will be asked. So it's just not giving out information, it's receiving information, and questions will be asked. So when they ask a question, you have to be prepared to answer their questions. So it's just not all copy and respond. It's a conversation, but that's what I found in it over the years, and it's just another mode of operation, and a mode that I've done for a long time. But it's a lot of fun, and at first a guy will get out there, a new person, and really be nervous about it, and worry about not catching it all, and you just got to kind of relax and just have fun with it. And the more you have fun with it, the better you're going to get at it. So anyway, this is Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo, back to net.
Excellent. Thank you again. Absolutely. Yeah, it's very similar, just to learning a different language. And you learn the basics. You start by crawling and then walking and then running. It's just different phases and lots of different options. And so whatever best methods work best for you in learning, there's a lot of options out there. So this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, we talked quite a lot about CW and Morse code this evening. Really do appreciate that. It's just about to take over to 8:30. We normally end around this time, but I'll throw it out to the group. Any other last-minute comments, questions, check-ins, anything else for this evening's Learning Net? Please comment. All right, I'll cover some club business, and we'll put out our last minute chance to check in over on our website. More information on us, whiskey0tangoxray.org, w0tx.org. Our latest roundtable is up there. Really do appreciate roundtable editor Brennan Pate for putting that together. Just you can see the president's message from our president, Jerry Vilhauer, and our past month's activities and our upcoming activities. Save the date, December 14th, Saturday. That will be our DRC holiday party at Highlands Masonic Center on North Federal Boulevard. We'll have more information on our website as that comes. I think it'll be catered by Brothers Barbecue, so it'll be a pretty good evening. This is K1DBC Net Control. Last minute opportunity. Any final opportunity for check-ins or comments or questions, please call now.
Question for Daron, KM4CFT.
Yeah, KM4CFT, go right ahead.
Just wondering, what new rig did you get that you're currently using? The audio is a little bit different from your 857, that's for sure.
Great question there. Hopefully it's not too far worse. It was even worse last week, and I think I figured out what's going on. It's a dual VFO. It's a Tytera TH9800 quad band 50 watt mobile ham radio. So 2 meter, 70 centimeter, and then 10 meter and 6 meter as well. Hopefully audio hasn't sounded all that bad, but yeah, it's definitely a different radio, a little bit cheaper than the previous Yaesu I did have. So again, Tytera TH9800. It's I think a clone of Yaesu's 8900, I think. So this is K1 DBC Net Control. Hopefully that answers that question.
It certainly does, yeah, I don't think you sound better or worse, you just sound a little bit different, like just the audio, maybe it just sounds warmer or cooler or something like that, but you don't sound better or worse, at least as far as I can tell, but you sound fine.
All right, that's exactly what I wanted to hear. Absolutely, yep. Different chipsets, different microprocessors, and different audio processing. So I'll see if I can listen back to it and see what I can improve. But glad to hear it's working all right. So so far so good. It also has AM and crossband repeater mode. So some pretty interesting features. So yeah, Tytera 9800. I got it on sale for about $150, $160 US off of Amazon. Retail for about $200. So this is K1 DBC Net Control. This will be the last opportunity. Last minute comments or questions, please come down. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Again, appreciate everyone's patience earlier on in the net. I stream on YouTube, but I use a program called Restream.io, and they have updated something on their end. I think it broke something, unfortunately. I'll have to go and see what happened there. But hopefully next week we'll get that straightened out. But with that, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Again, we thank the Denver Radio Club for allowing us to use their repeaters. And we thank all of you for checking in. Let me get back to the script here. All right, tonight we had a total of 14 check-ins. We do appreciate that. Again, thanks for people helping with us. Third Wednesday of the month is our monthly meeting, 6 p.m. For our Elmers session and 7 p.m. for the meeting. More information on our club, w0tx.org webpage. With that, please join us next week, 1930 hours, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time for the next Learning Net. This is K1 DBC 7.3 to all, and I will be clear.